if there was more music in the world, I think there'd be less war. You know, people would just sit around and play. In their culture, these are professional musicians. There's no ego. There was never anyone who was one-upmanship. They were all on the same strata.
Everybody is so open, that we've had has been so open to share their culture, and it isn't like, oh, you don't know this.
Her way of channeling like her culture and expressing it was showing the whole world and showing people that have no like experience to it or like don't know it as well. I really love that, and I love to learn something new from someone that was born through it all and loves to share and is passionate about it. That was great.
I kind of walked in going, I know that I'm going to be challenged. I know that I'm going to be seeing and hearing different things. And so in that aspect, I was not surprised. And yet at the same time, I was wonderfully surprised at all the different ways that you could approach music.
It kind of, again, made me realize how much more is out there, but also made me realize how people can find common ground through music, through expression, even if we don't have the same views. I feel like music is a way to like connect with people, and it kind of bridges to other areas of life as well. So I think it's really important, and it has changed my worldview.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now with the world, and I think that's all of everybody's main focus right now. So it's great just to like focus on something positive and learn a new song and what that song means to people in different cultures and different ways. So I definitely have a different perspective, I think.
Every single human culture that's ever existed on the planet has had music as part of its culture. And yet how each one of those cultures has expressed that music has been different. And to me, that's the fun part. Like, how do you get into the brain or the minds of the people who are living this culture? And that's the surprising part.
My view is now that music is what connects us and binds us, and it's a great way to experience a different culture in a way that both parties can understand, because it is a language of its own in and of itself that translates beyond what speaking languages do, and you know, it's a great way to connect with people all around the world.
Right now, right here at Masco, we have the ability, we have not only the ability, but we have teachers involved, we have the connections, and we have students that are really engaged and involved in really learning about these things. So all of that put together is my biggest takeaway. It's such a joy to be able to say we're reaching outside the walls of Masconomet and we're seeing what's going on outside of the world.
I think my biggest takeaway would have to be just how much is out there in the world. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's almost overwhelming because there's so much that I want to learn and so much I realize I don't know.
It's sort of like you've got one little bite of something, which means I don't know what I don't know. And it's like, so now I want to know what I don't know. And so where haven't we gone?
There is a world, a musical world, outside of the Tri-Town, outside of Massachusetts, outside of the United States, that I really didn't know about before.
I definitely want to, look into different types of music and travel the world and hear it and see it with my own eyes.
I used to think, basically, with my education, music was very much European, even jazz, but it's still very, let's say, Americanized. And then through working with Cultural Connect and Derek, now I see that's such a narrow focus. So music is much broader than what I used to think.
I have to be really honest and say that even though I'm the age that I am and as long as I've been teaching, I have not been exposed to a lot of world culture music. So just the exposure to the different sounds that I'm not used to performing, and I'm not used to leading, is a blessing.
I think I realized that there's a lot to music and culture, and knowing that there's different kinds of music around the world is very interesting and fun to learn about. So that's definitely changed my perspective.
Over the past 3 years in Culture Connect, my perspective on music has changed a lot. It made me realize how much more is out there and how people around the world think of music differently. It's a way to communicate, but I always just had such a European focus on music, and that was kind of the way I thought about it, and that's how I thought how everybody thinks about music. I didn't realize that there are different ways of thinking about the structure, chords, and just like what music is for also depends on where you are in the world and what your values are and your beliefs.
As far as being able to communicate with people halfway around the world about what they're doing and how they're doing it, and have them demonstrate firsthand, live, not a recording. I mean, you can find lots of videos of stuff, but most of them have been edited. But to be able to sit in someone's living room and watch them perform, you know, and they're 8 hours away, I mean, it's amazing. So yeah, I think it's crucial.
But it's pretty amazing to be able to have an instructor from, who's sitting in Brazil or Colombia, and they're instructing us, teaching us about their culture while they're at their home, we're at ours, and we're able to learn from them. I think it's pretty amazing that we can do that, and it's pretty special.
I think it's amazing that we are connected with these world-renowned musicians, and we really get a personalized experience. They want to know what we are curious about their music, or their instruments, and we get to know these people pretty well. And yeah, definitely a great program.
And the difference between Culture Connect and anything else is that you have to be committed to want to learn this. It's not just like in a lot of things with school, you memorize or you experience it, you put it back on the test, and then you don't remember it ever again. The thing about Cultural Connect is these aren't actors. These are real musicians in real countries with real challenges, just like we have. I wouldn't want to recommend it to a teacher who would just use it as a fill-in lesson. That's not what it's for. It needs to affect someone's life, and you watch it and you experience it. So, a guarded yes, I would recommend it highly to anyone who's mature enough to understand what it really is about.
Certainly it exposes a lot of things you couldn't get otherwise in the classroom. I mean, what was available to us in the classroom on a worldwide basis was worth thousands of dollars, I think.
I think that we should definitely dive into more cultures and learn about their music. I mean, I love music in general, and I love learning about music around the world because it's definitely different everywhere you go. Now, I appreciate each culture more for itself because each culture really has its own music, or at least different musical roots, which I think are all really interesting.
It's important to be open to new types of music, new types of things, and experience new things, because if you're not open to it, you'll never learn cool things like Colombian rhythms or African rhythms or anything.